The lawyers are working overtime, and we are here to talk about it because Britney speaking to the court on June 23rd has changed everything. People are coming forward after hearing her speak. We saw the I have me up, so now I'm loud. We saw a new documentary from the New York Times called Controlling Britney Spears. I have an Emily Show episode coming out about that on Wednesday, and there are some new documents in court that are addressing it from Britney's legal team and a clapback from Jamie's legal team, because what is a ping pong match in court without an adequate back and forth? There are lots of new motions. We're going to focus on just two of them. I will give you a rundown of everything that's new, and then on Wednesday there is an overview coming for you of what I'm expecting from the court hearing on the 29th. But this battle is not over, and we know why. I was saving it for Wednesday, but the cat's out of the bag. We know what James Spears is so afraid of, and we're going to talk about it. Law nerds, thank you for this extra ride. Mods, thank you for this extra ride. I am calling the law nerds to order with my dongle because I'm in the middle of packing because I leave in the morning. Extra ride. On behalf of Britney Spears, we are called to order to cover these motions. Replay crew, love you. Timestamps will be down below. We've got to just get right into it because there is so much shit to talk about, and I'm sure that there will be questions. So should we just go? I'm ready to go. Let's just go. Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. You know, the real reason I didn't fly out to Vid Summit this morning to hang out with everybody well in advance is because I went to see Dave Matthews Band last night and I knew I would need the time to pack. But now I see that the universe has other plans and is raining motions from the sky. Tonight, I will try to get to as many super chats as I can. I'm going to do that after we go through these motions. I am a little crunch for time. So we're going to just do our best. It's so good to see you all coming in. All right, let's get to all the motions, like the flurry of activity. And remember, things that are filed in the LA court system are not always populated until the next business day. So there's stuff that was filed on Friday that didn't even pop up into the system until late today. So what we have that's new are a whole bunch of petitions for fees, and those are things that are supposed to be resolved on the 29th. I don't think they're going to be resolved on the 29th. I think all of that stuff is going to get put over to future dates. I think none of the money stuff's going to get addressed. I think the only thing that's going to get addressed on the 29th is the petition to yeet, which is Britney Spears's legal team's motion to suspend and or remove James Spears. I think that is the main motion. And then potentially James Spears kind of counteracting petition to terminate. So petition to end the conservatorship. So those are the two main motions. With that, Dad Spears' legal team filed a motion on the 24th of September, the second response to the petition to yeet, as we call it here. And then Rosengart today filed a third supplement to the petition to yeet, addressing things that were in Controlling Britney Spears. I would also love to bring some of my, my prosecutor brain to what might happen after what we saw from Controlling Britney Spears. And because that video is coming on Wednesday, I'm not going to get too deep into it. If you haven't seen it yet, you have homework, law nerd homework. Watch Controlling Britney Spears on Hulu. It is, it confirms a lot of what people have been suspecting, what those in the Free Britney movement have been saying for years. Before I even started covering this conservatorship, they have been saying these are the things that her dad is doing. And now we have insiders breaking their silence. And I believe they're breaking their silence because Britney had the courage to speak to the court, and it has empowered others to do so. The shit is out of the horse. There is no stopping what's going on in this conservatorship now. All all of it is going to come to light, and it's going to be great for Britney and very bad for team conservatorship. It doesn't make the court look good. I am mad. There is some stuff that makes me mad, but I will save my anger for Wednesday's video. Tonight, we are going to get into James Spears's second response to the petition to yeet, and then we will get into Rosengart's response. Everyone keeps filing the transcripts with these. So all of these are like 100+ pages long. You all don't need to file the court has them. We all have them. Don't worry if you don't have Hulu. I summarize Controlling Britney Spears in Wednesday's episode of The Emily Show. I repeat myself enough. I just definitely don't need to repeat the whole episode tonight or we'll never get to this. So that's on Wednesday. It is coming. It is coming. Let's go ahead and share the screen and pull up this motion first and get into it. Sorry we didn't do as many introductions tonight. It is just, we are moving tonight. People are going to be like, this is the shortest intro ever. Accurate. We're getting into it tonight. All right. James Spears' second response to Conservatee's petition to yeet. There, I fixed it. Yes, we know it's the petition for suspension. The law nerds rename things. We rename things. This is the petition to yeet. As the court is well aware, oh my God, we are all so well aware. The petition for suspension or removal is just one of numerous matters pending in this conservatorship and scheduled for the court's calendar on September 29th. Yeah, we're aware. Just so we know what we're talking about. On the 29th, fee petitions are pending. The 12th accounting's pending. The petition to terminate's pending. The petition for suspension is pending. I think all the money stuff's going to go over to another court date. Of all the matters pending, however, the one that deserves this court's primary and most immediate attention is the petition for termination. Negative ghostwriter. That pattern is full. Filed by Mr. Spears on September 7th, 2021. The petition for termination has the support and consent of Conservatee Britney Jean Spears. That's not exactly what they said. Not exactly what they said. What they said is, when the time's right. No, that's not what they said. What they said is they would like James Spears yeeted first, and then they would like to appoint a temporary conservator of the estate, and then they would like to bring a petition to terminate or to hear this petition to terminate once Spears's legal team has filed like a termination plan document. That is their desire, and that's how they hope to move forward. So this is not exactly the way that Britney's team has construed this. This is the way that James's team is construing this, because they would like this to terminate immediately. It's not going to help them, and I think the court will see through this. If the court grants this, I will be very, very, very surprised. I don't think the court's going to just terminate this conservatorship on the 29th. I don't see that happening. The petition for termination also affects all the other pending matters. Granting the petition for termination would render some of the matters moot. Yeah, like the motion to yeet, including the inset petition to yeet, and would provide an incentive for the resolution of all other matters. Paying Holland and Knight over $1 million in legal fees. Those are the incentive for the resolution of other matters. The other matters are mostly paying lawyers. Sam Ingham has a whole bunch of fee petitions pending. The 12th accounting has objections and fee petitions pending. Don't try to incentivize Britney's team to just pay y'all so you can go away, because that's not what the fuck is happening up in here. In the sections below, Mr. Spears will summarize for the court all the matters pending on the court's upcoming calendar. The presumptuousness of this. First of all, the probate notes clearly summarize what's pending on the calendar. Like, everyone is well aware. You don't need to educate the court about the court's own calendar, but thanks for playing. Can you tell? I'm annoyed already. We're only like 18 lines in on page 2. It's going to be great. And you can hear my voice. Don't we sound yummy tonight? Yeah, that's the Dave Matthews of it all. The court need not consider the petition for suspension. Look over here. Look over here, Your Honor. Please don't look at that motion. Look over here. Look over here. Deflect, 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 deflect. This petition's deflecting harder than Jen Shaw right now. The court need not consider the petition for suspension or removal before determining whether the conservatorship will continue at all. But if it does, the court should recognize that the petition has given this court no adequate basis. Oh my. No adequate basis upon which it could rely to suspend and remove Mr. Spears. That's not accurate. Okay, we're just going to keep going in this alternate reality that is James Spears's motion. The first order of business of this court, therefore, should be, I love telling the court what to do. Your Honor, follow our plan. Don't listen to them. No, this should not be the first matter. I mean, maybe it should be. Maybe the court can go, you know what? The petition to terminate is premature. We're going to take Britney's motion because she's the conservatee and this is in her best interest. And we're going to do what she has asked, which is to yeet Dad Spears and then have an actual termination plan and process. They're not just going to terminate a $60 million conservatorship without a plan in place. That's not what's going to happen. And when you move to terminate it, the termination is after the financial matters are resolved. So it wouldn't just end. It's not like October 1st, Britney doesn't have to deal with her dad anymore. He would stay in place until the financial matters are resolved. What Britney's team wants is him to be removed before the financial matters are resolved, because then everything comes to light. And that is why they're fighting so hard. And we will talk about that in a bit, because it is a glorious footnote in the motion from Britney's team. Once the decision is made about terminating the conservatorship or not, all of the other matters before the court will either be moot or should be capable of resolution by the parties. Accordingly, if the court determines the conservatorship will end, it should order the parties to attend a mandatory settlement conference. Why do you need to settle? Why do you need a mandatory settlement conference like parties that are suing each other? Is it because the estate doesn't want to pay your legal fees anymore? Okay. Or in the alternative, a private mediation. What are you scared of, everyone? Why do we need an MSC? I'm very curious. To resolve all pending matters that must be resolved in order to conclude this matter. No, that's not going to happen. Summary of the matters pending. Petition for termination. We're well aware. Petition for appointment of successor conservator. Why is this? Oh, there we go. It looked indent and funny, but it's not. Petition for appointment of successor conservator of the person, which is really just extending Jody Montgomery as long as this extends and making her potentially the permanent conservator, which I think is going to be moot at this point. And I think the court will just continue Jody Montgomery as a temporary conservator. Her papers expire at the end of October. I think the court will extend that to the new year, so they don't have to address it again, but I don't think she'll be made the permanent conservator. Petition for appointment of successor conservator of the estate. I think that is one of the biggest matters that would happen if James Spears is removed, and then they have already withdrawn the nomination of Jason Rubin and nominated the other guy whose name escapes me at the moment, and I would have to look it up. But I think that they're going to try to appoint him. It should be right down here. Yeah. Anyway, they're going to try to appoint the successor conservator of the estate. 12th account current. The 12th account current, y'all. This 12th accounting, this is the one with all of the lawyers' fees and the media matters and payment to TriStar. I went back and looked. First of all, it's for accounting year 2019, and the 12th account was filed August 6, 2020. That's how long this has been pending for. And James is like, well, we'll just terminate this when this is resolved. I have no faith that this is going to resolve quickly. There has been lots of fighting over this 12th accounting of the estate. So let's get back into this. Pending fee petitions for Sam Ingham for 2019, 2020, and 2021. Loeb and Loeb's fees. We know fees are pending. There's a bunch of motions. Those are all going to get put over, I think. Other pending matters. petition for instructions of order investigating issues and claims raised by Britney Jean Spears. I think the court will bounce that over. Late filed petition for appointment of temporary conservator. The court already granted an ex parte notice that hearing could be waived, but I appreciate the shade. I mean, we've got shade going both ways. And this is to appoint the subsequent temporary conservator with the new name. And they're saying it shouldn't be granted, but the court's already granted the ex parte for the notice, so it's not an issue. If the petition for termination remains unopposed, it should be given priority over all other matters. And they're saying that it should just be resolved. And again, that would leave Dad Spears in charge until all of the accounting matters are resolved, which could be a substantial period of time. The petition has not provided this court with any adequate basis for suspension or removal of James Spears. I disagree. The petition for suspension or removal relies, this is why I say yeet. It's so much easier and I don't trip over my words. The petition to yeet relies on two accompanying declarations from Jody Montgomery and Lynn Spears. The problems with the declaration from Lynn Spears were addressed in Dad Spears' first response, where he threw Lynn right the fuck under the bus, drove it over, backed it up, and drove it over again. Mr. Montgomery has also provided a declaration and filed a joinder in support, but as discussed below, these are flawed. No, they're not. Okay. In the declaration, Ms. Montgomery asserts that Ms. Spears has serious unresolved issues with her father, sourcing back to childhood. But Ms. Montgomery has absolutely no personal knowledge of any such matters. She's allowed to say what Britney told her. Nor does she claim to have conducted an investigation to support her assertions. To the contrary, she makes it clear that her comment is based solely on her own interpretation of the statements made by Ms. Spears to the court. Did y'all interpret it the same way? Did y'all interpret Britney's statements to the court the same way? Because I would like to know, do y'all agree with Vivian or do y'all agree with Jody Montgomery? Who do you agree with? I want to know. Let me know in the chat. Who do we agree with? Montgomery also claims to have observed dynamics at play between Mr. Spears and his daughter that are not psychologically healthy. Oh, like recording her whole fucking life and tapping her phone? Like that? Like that? That are not psychologically healthy and supportive for Miss Spears and her mental condition. Her medical team also said that. But Ms. Montgomery provides no factual support for this bald assertion. She's trying to say it's just a naked assertion, but I disagree. They argue that Jody fails to provide any specifics about the conduct she claims to have observed or any indication of when she claims to have observed such, quote, dynamics at play. Look, it's creepy enough that every time we see Vivian talk in the media, she refers to James Spears as Britney's daddy. It creeps me out. She's like, Britney knows her daddy loves her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. 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 They go on to say Ms. Montgomery provides no factual support for this assertion. She fails to provide any specifics of the dynamics at play. In fact, Ms. Montgomery has not observed any direct interaction between Mr. Spears and Ms. Spears for at least the last year and a half since Mr. Spears has been prevented from seeing his own daughter. Maybe because it's in the best interest of her mental health that he not see her. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe that supports the bald assertion that isn't so bald at all. Not to mention, she has seen her dad and Britney interact in court. Okay. Continue. They say Ms. Montgomery lacks the credentials and expertise necessary to offer an opinion regarding Ms. Spears' mental condition. However, in the first response, which is on this channel if you want to go watch, if you haven't watched that video of the first response, Dad Spears makes all kind of assertions about Britney's mental health that should not have been disclosed publicly in his motion. So how can you argue out of both sides of your mouth? And how do you charge like $1,300 an hour to do it? Just a question. I have questions. Okay. They go on to say that Miss Montgomery lacks the credentials and expertise necessary to offer an opinion whether Miss Spears's mental condition or what interactions might be psychologically healthy for her. Miss Montgomery is not a medical professional, though Miss Montgomery is the liaison between the conservatorship and Britney's medical professionals. She is allowed to report to the court that the medical team is on board with this. Miss Montgomery also offers this court her lay opinion that Mr. Spears should be removed as conservator of the estate without providing any explanation or factual basis for the opinion. We're going to get back into that in a minute. She asserts that conservators should not be family members. We'll get into that in a minute. They say that Miss Montgomery represents to this court in both her declaration and joinder that Britney's medical team agrees that dad should be yeeted, but Ms. Montgomery provides no factual basis for these hearsay assertions. Oh, are we now going to make evidentiary objections to this petition? Good. Let's continue fighting more. Because in the first petition, in the first response, what Dad Spears said is what he didn't want was a extended public fight over whether he should be the conservator or not, because that was not in Britney's best interest. And then he continued to double down over and over again to fight with her in public and just spew her personal information all over everywhere by not only leaking his court documents to the media before seemingly file them, but also by putting things that should be private in his legal filings that are not filed under seal. I agree with the chat. I think it's time to go to Code Red. I agree. Let's do it. I keep meaning to set up my my A-word device so I can just yell it at Code Red, but we're just for now we're just going to have to do it manually. But I agree with the chat. The chat has called a Code Red on this fuckery, and I agree. Hard agree. DEFCON Red. Anyone who's new in the chat, hi, welcome. The Lawnards will explain to you what our DEFCON system is. We generally just fluctuate between normal and red. We had a whole rating system, but it's normally just that we get to red. So motion for DEFCON Red. Granted, DEFCON Red is our highest level of what? The fuckery. And that is why we are red at the moment. There's a like a warning system for how much fuckery is at foot. There was lots and lots in this motion. So they're saying that the court cannot rely on the unsupported and inadmissible assertions of Jody Montgomery, the conservator of the estate. Good. That's a great position to take on this. Moreover, it's worth noting that for 13 years, here we go. Everybody take a drink for the self-congratulatory bullshit that is about to be unleashed on us. Moreover, it's worth noting for 13 years during the entire course of this conservatorship, probate investigators have conducted regular and reoccurring investigations based on interviews with numerous individuals, including medical professionals. In all this time, to the best of Mr. Spears' knowledge and belief, not a single medical professional nor the report of a single probate investigator has recommended that Mr. Spears' presence as conservator was harming to Miss Spears or that he should be replaced as conservator of the estate. Given the long history of Mr. Spears' service and the consistent results of probate investigators, this court simply cannot rely on Miss Montgomery's unfounded statements without further direct inquiry. This clearly must have been written before they were aware that the New York Times had its hot little hands on a probate investigator's report from 2016 that said Britney felt subjugated to the conservatorship and that there needed to be a path forward where Britney had more autonomy and that essentially that the conservatorship was becoming toxic. So this was filed before they knew that we would know what's in the probate investigator's report, because those are all filed under seal and we have not seen them. But what we do know is that as of 2016, based on the New York Times' work, the probate investigators were calling foul on this, saying that Britney was not feeling safe and supported in her conservatorship, and no one did anything. They have the same report. So to phrase it this way is just disingenuous bullshit. I don't know how you type this with a straight face. Okay, we're going to continue to rewrite reality. The court should order the parties to attend a mandatory settlement conference or private mediation. What is there to settle? Your legal fees? James's fees? Letting James out of this without further investigation? What is there to settle? That's what the fuck the court's there for. Like, literally, the process to resolve the financials is that it goes through this court. The court gets the motions, the court gets the objections. Does Team Spears think that the tide is changing with the judge? Do they think the judge is going to go against them and now they want to get another bench officer at an MSC or a private mediation? Is that what they're trying to get? Why? Why do you need this? Why do you need a settlement conference? Why? I have so many questions, but it smells like fear and bullshit. That's what it smells like, because the shit's out of the horse and there's nothing that the team conservatorship can do at this point. Okay, I am done ranting. The last thing this court or this conservatee needs or wants would be extended and expensive litigation over pending or final accounts and fee petitions. Tell the court what it doesn't want some more, please. No, the conservatee does not need more expensive litigation, but you're making it that way with spending $500,000 of Britney's money on media matters. There may be some issues to resolve, but despite the unfounded arguments of Conservatee's new counsel, oh, there it is. They're throwing Rosengart under the bus. Mr. Spears does not believe that they are numerous and complicated. No, get rid of him and everything will resolve. If the parties were directed to attend a mandatory settlement conference, or in the alternative, a private mediation, and everyone would act in good faith. Where's your good faith? Is this motion filed in good faith? Like, I think we're beyond. We've jumped the shark. We've jumped the shark with this motion. Okay. And everyone would act in good faith. Mr. Spears believes that all the pending issues could be resolved. Why does it feel like this is another attempt to just say, if you play nice, we'll go away? This is why Rosengart called it extortion in his last motion. Oh, where's the good faith in this? Of course, few things are ever certain, but one thing is clear at this stage. It is in the best interest of his daughter that the court orders the parties to a mandatory settlement conference or mediation so they may attempt in good faith to resolve all the pending matters to the end of terminating the conservatorship. No. What's in the best interest of Britney was put forward by her attorneys to yeet Dad Spears. Don't try to, it's like, okay, look, first it's like, I'll leave, but on my own time, when the time's right, when the legal fees are paid and the accounts are wrapped up, then I'll go. And then the next motion was, hey, let's just forget about all of this. Let's just terminate the whole thing. Let's just terminate this whole conservatorship after the financials are settled. Let's just do that. And I'll just stay in charge and we'll settle the financials and it'll be good. And we'll just all be done. Let's do that. And now we've got this third response that's like, okay, wait, but if you don't like those two options, please just send us to mediation. Do anything but suspend James Spears and order a subsequent conservator. Anything but that. Please, God in heaven, anything but that. And we're going to find out why in just a moment. Conclusion, the court's priority must now be petition for termination. No, it's the petition to yeet. I disavow this. Let's see. And then I think we've got 100 pages. Here's the petition for termination that we've already gone through. Let's see what else we've got attached. So let's attach everything. I think somebody's trying to make, this is just speculation and shade on my part. I feel like they keep attaching all of the transcripts because the court has them. I feel like they're attaching all of the transcripts because it makes it very expensive to continue downloading all of these motions, and you don't really know what they're attaching. But I've paid for these transcripts like 17 times at this point because everyone keeps attaching them, and that's why this motion's 132 pages. Are we ready to get into Rosengart's motion? Are we ready to see the response to this shit? I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it? I can't do the mute. Yeah, we're ready for it. It's highlighted. We're gonna pull up the highlighted one. I was mad. I highlighted it in blue most of this, which normally I just use for emphasis, but no, this one is mostly in blue because there's a lot of room to emphasize. All right, let's get it started in here. Let's go. The third supplemental petition to the motion to yeet. Let us share our screen and make this nice and big so we can talk about what Rosengart had to say in his 21-page motion. Thank the Lord above that you did not file every single transcript with this motion. All of us commentators that buy these on our own appreciate you, Rosengart. Thank you. It just makes it easier for everyone. But I feel like we just have to pull every single document into light at this point because there's so much bullshit hiding in some of these. All right. Introduction. Britney Spears has presented, and the record is replete with overwhelming evidence mandating the immediate suspension of James P. Spears no later than September 29th. Yes, you have made your position very clear, Rosengart. Also, I forgot to say this when I switched topics. Apologies. There are over 4,000 of you in the chat. If you have not done the like and subscribe in the YouTube things, please go ahead and do it. I would appreciate it so much. Supports me, supports the channel. Let me do this here with you. So thank you very much. Okay, let's get back into this. Miss Spears has demonstrated under Probate Code 2650J, although serious questions abound. Oh no, shit, serious questions abound. There are so many questions. All of the questions abound. But aside from all the questions abounding, they go on to say Miss Spears need not prove that Mr. Spears has engaged in negligence, faithlessness, gross immorality, or other misconduct, nor does Mr. Spears have to acknowledge culpability. The only issue under Section 2650J is whether, under this court's broad discretion, suspension is in the best interest of Britney Spears. The only fair and just answer is, of course, yes. Indeed, this relief can be granted sua sponte, and it is equally clear that this must happen by no later than September 29th. The petition goes on to say Ms. Spears' petition and supplements present numerous reasons why Mr. Spears sucks. No, wait, it doesn't say that. It says why Mr. Spears' immediate suspension is in Ms. Spears' best interest, including, first and foremost, Ms. Spears' own powerful and poignant testimony. I'm telling you what, you guys, we talked about it on the 23rd. Her testimony changed everything. Look, Britney took the reins of her life back, and I don't see her letting go now. This is directly because of her and because of her testimony. And the Free Britney movement and those who have given her the support and strength, those who are close to her that gave her the support and strength to speak in court, all of this is because of that testimony on June 23rd. I don't think without that testimony, the court would have let her have her own attorney. I think we'd still be dicking around like we were 2 years ago. They go on to say that the court and the world heard that testimony, and we need repeat it herein. Oh, no, I think we need not repeat it herein. Suffice to say that Ms. Spears testified to the abuses inflicted by her father, as well as his cruelty and how he stripped her of her dignity. Ms. Spears wants and obviously deserves a, quote, full life and all that entails, including the restoration of basic rights and civil liberties stripped away by Mr. Spears. The record is also clear that Ms. Spears will not work while her father remains the conservator, and that every day that goes by with him as conservator, every day and every hour is one in which he causes his daughter anguish and pain. Footnote 1, a true and correct copy of Ms. Spears' second supplemental is annexed hereto as Exhibit A. I also think that part of this court's role is the protection of the financial estate of the conservatorship. And so when the court, and it wasn't this judge, it was the previous judge, but when the court allowed this conservatorship to be a quote hybrid business model, the court allowed and acknowledged that Britney working was a valid and valuable part of this conservatorship. So if that's true, then Britney saying, I won't work while he's here means that his presence is actually damaging the estate and damaging Britney. And it is the court's job to protect both of those things, the financial matters and the individual conservatee. That is the role of the court, to protect them, not allow them to be exploited. Worse, Mr. Spears knows this. He knows his toxic presence. He's toxic. Yeah. We can't not. He knows his toxic presence is harming to his daughter on a daily basis. He knows his suspension is in his daughter's best interest under Section 2650J. He has now even expressly conceded in his petition for termination that no conservator of the estate is necessary, and hence he is not necessary. Yet, for what can only be self-serving reasons, hard agree, Mr. Spears seeks to linger. We talked about this. We talked about the word linger last time. He is now festering in his role, isn't he? He is not lingering like a fart. He is festering like a boil at this point. Mr. Spears seeks to linger to the detriment of his daughter and the estate, specifically in his second response to Ms. Spears' petition to yeet, even though he acknowledges that the conservatorship must be wound down and terminated. Relief to which all the parties agree. He seeks a, quote, private mediation or settlement. What he really seeks is more delay, which after more than a decade is simply intolerable. Yes, it is intolerable. I agree. We're going to get into this footnote. We have to get to footnote voice, which is hard after screaming my head off, because this is the important footnote, but I was, we were daving. This is the entire point. Look, I talk about this in the show coming up on Wednesday. We discussed this on Twitter over the weekend. This is the entire point. The attorney-client privilege bit. Yeah. Footnote 2. Mr. Spears also presumably knows that when he is suspended, he must turn over the conservatorship files, included purported attorney-client privilege documents, to the new temporary conservator. Successor fiduciary becomes holder of the privilege of all communications between fiduciary and his counsel regarding the estate whenever they occurred, because fiduciary, the role, the position of conservator, not the person, because fiduciary is holder of the attorney-client privilege in his or her capacity as such, successor fiduciary becomes the holder as to confidential communications between predecessor fiduciary and attorney concerning trust administration. Every single thing Dad Spears has done with his attorneys, every communication, which one worries might not still exist, but every communication gets turned over to the successor conservator of the estate, because the attorney-client privilege runs with the position, not with the person. Whoop, there it is. They will know what you did. They're going to find you, James Spears, and they will know what you did. And if they suspect things have gone missing, it's going to be even worse. So this is why they're like, can we terminate it? Can we terminate it now? Let's terminate it now. And if we terminate it, then there will be no successor conservator to the estate. This is why we need a successor conservator to the estate, to look at the books, to look at the emails, to look at the communications, to look at the text messages. James Spears did not pay for these attorneys for 13 years. Britney Spears did. And the conservator of the estate is entitled to every bit of communication. Boom. And that is why the fight is on. And Britney should not back down on this fight and should not terminate this until they get someone else's hands on this. We've needed someone else to look at the books. I've been saying we need someone else to look at the books. I've been saying that terminating it is not the right thing at the time because we need someone else to look at this conservatorship, and they have spelled it out even more clearly. Let's get to the last the last case. They cited lots of cases. But I love it. Successor personal representative has the power and duties in respect to the continued administration over that the former personal representative would have had. Needless to say, the sooner the complete files are turned over for review, the sooner complete objections to Mr. Spears' accountings and pending petition for fees can be finalized and adjudicated at an evidentiary hearing in the future. Well, Holland and Knight and the court, we would happily work together in good faith to resolve this. If you will, give us the fucking information we've been asking for. Thanks so much. I am very excited that this is spelled out. It kind of definitely jumps the point of my my next Emily show on Wednesday, but you know what? The cat's already out of the bag on this anyway, so it's no worth keeping very good information to ourselves. This is what Dad Spears is afraid of. Everything that was discussed with Black Box comes in. Everything that was discussed with his attorney comes in. Everything that was discussed with the family law attorney, everything gets turned over to someone else that has been put forward by Britney, not put forward by the conservatorship, someone that James Spears and team doesn't have control over. And isn't that exactly what we have been asking for? All of it. Let's see all of it. And let's get a computer expert to make sure things haven't been deleted. Motion to not delete your shit. As we have previously stated, Miss Spears will no longer be bullied or extorted, nor will she further tolerate her father's abuse. Because she finally has a lawyer that's also not going to back down. With its apparent... we've gotten to misogynistic underpinnings. I forgot that we had gotten there. All right. Miss Spears will no longer be bullied or extorted, nor will she tolerate her father's abuse with its apparent misogynistic underpinnings. As we have also stated, Miss Spears rejects her father's self-interested efforts at settlement and maintains and pleads that regardless of when the conservatorship ends, Mr. Spears must be suspended now. Yeet immediately. They go on to say Mr. Spears was, of course, never fit to serve for all of the many compelling reasons already contained on the record. We talked about that in the last motion, ranging from his lack of financial acumen, to his bankruptcy, to his reported alcoholism, to the trauma he caused his daughter since childhood, to the domestic violence restraining order recently issued against him. That's in regards to Britney's children and K-Fed. But now the chickens have truly come home to roost. No! The shit is out of the horse. I appreciate that you can't say the shit is out of the horse to the court. I just prefer the shit's out of the horse to the chickens have come home to roost. But either way, it's the truth. The chickens have truly come home to roost. In its September 24th, 2021 front page bombshell expose entitled Security Firm Secretly Tracked and Recorded Spears for Years, Even Bedroom is Said to Have Been Bugged, the Times reported that Mr. Spears engaged in horrifying and unconscionable invasions of his daughter's privacy. True story. If you guys have not seen the recent update, the Controlling Britney Spears, or read the Times article, one of the 9-year employees from Black Box Security came forward and said that they were monitoring everything Britney did on her phone by having an iPad with the iCloud logged in so they could monitor everything. And then they were also bugging her bedroom to snoop on private conversations with her boyfriend and her children. It didn't say what year that was. I don't know if that was with her current boyfriend or her previous boyfriend. Either way, it's horrifying, but there were questions raised by the individual who worked for the security company, and they said, no, this is all with the court's approval. But then they went to that same individual and said, hey, this is about 180 hours of recorded audio out of Britney's bedroom. Can you delete this? We need no trace of this. And he made a copy instead of deleting it. So, finally came forward, and I think is finally in a position to come forward because, again, the cat's out of the bag now. Why are they all animal references? I don't know. The chickens have come to roost. The shit's out of the horse. The cat's out of the bag. It's conservatorship Armageddon at this point. But what was uncovered was horrific. Specifically, the Times reported that he and others ran an intense surveillance apparatus that monitored Miss Spears's communications and also evidently captured attorney-client communications with her prior lawyer, which communications are a sacrosanct part of the legal system. Rosengart, I love your writing. Can we pick a word that's easier for Emily? I'm teasing. Sacrosanct part of the legal system. Even more shockingly, the Times reported that Mr. Spears and cohorts secretly captured audio recordings from her bedroom, including private communications with her children. Mr. Spears has crossed unfathomable lines. You think? While they are not evidence, the allegations warrant serious investigation, probably already undergoing, by Miss Spears, as, among other things, California is a two-party consent state. Oh, don't we know it? You can't just wiretap people. You can't just record conversations. You can't just monitor somebody's phone. You generally, to wiretap anything, said by the former DA who has friends that worked wiretapping people, there are quite a lot of formal court hoops that you have to go through, and this circumstance isn't going to count for what you would get an order like that for. This isn't going to fly. So let's get into the law that they cited in the footnote. The California Invasion of Privacy Act, CIPA, California Penal Code 630 et sec, was enacted, quote, to protect the right of privacy by, among other things, requiring that all parties consent to a recording of their conversation. Emphasis added, citing Flagon versus Flagon. That's probably somebody recording somebody during a divorce, given the two last names. Individuals who were injured by a violation of CIPA may file a civil action against the perpetrators to recover monetary penalties of $5,000 per violation or 3 times the actual damages. Well, if they're recording over 180 hours of audio that we know of, then how many conversations is that? I don't think that's an ongoing. I think each conversation is its own act at $5,000. Let's just start adding it up. As a result of this, back to line 11. As a result of these deeply disturbing allegations, Mr. Spears will inevitably be focused over the next several days and weeks on defending his own interests, not his daughter's, yet again. Oh, he's going to be trying. He's going to be trying to defend his reputation. Bad reputation. And regardless of the outcome of the allegations, what cannot be genuinely disputed is how deeply upsetting they are to Miss Spears. And if nothing else, they magnify the need to suspend Dad Spears immediately. To be clear, no, we're already clear. To be clear, his suspension will not impede the ultimate termination of the entire conservatorship, as Mr. Spears will be required during the transition to work with his temporary successor. The only thing Mr. Spears will, quote, lose is something he should not have ever had, the ability to further harm his daughter. Oh, shit. Boom! Boom goes the dynamite. He shouldn't, and the court allowed it. He shouldn't have ever had the ability to harm his daughter. That is not the point of a conservatorship. Against this backdrop, it continues, Mr. Spears' claim that there is, quote, no adequate basis to suspend him now is legally and factually preposterous. Legal speak for it's total and complete fucking bullshit. But I like legally and factually preposterous. You let me know which one you like better. Total bullshit. Indeed, he should be ashamed to make that argument. We're on the same page. Rosengart, we're on the same page. How they can even, the audacity of the thing. Indeed, he should be ashamed to make that argument, which does not merit response other than respectfully commending the court to Miss Spears' testimony and record, case law, and the other legal authorities already cited in our prior petitions, all of which overwhelmingly mandate yeeting. Finally, and again, as Ms. Spears has previously made clear, she emphatically consents to termination of the conservatorship in its entirety this fall as it is formally wound down. Formally wound down with process and procedure. not just yet. In the meantime, as set forth in the second supplement on July 26th, Mr. Spears must be yeeted. By the way, for those of you listening on audio, if you are not looking at the petition, I am just transposing the word suspended for yeeted. It's good. The parties do appear to agree that the accounting and fee issues can and should be set for a hearing at the court's convenience. Yes, put them over for an evidentiary hearing at a separate hearing in the future after Mr. Spears responds to the discovery propounded upon him in August and also answers questions under oath at his deposition. Yes, we will address the fees after we depose your ass. We have questions that we would like to ask you under oath. Thanks. And once James Spears is suspended, they'll have the book so that they can ask better questions. Okay. Even assuming Mr. Spears were to invoke the fifth at his deposition, oh, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. There will be some pleading the fifth, I imagine, because at this point, the writing is on the wall that an investigation is coming, if it has not already started, by authorities other than just Rosengart. There are still questions he would still be required to answer, which would inform the court's decision on these accounting and financial issues at an evidentiary hearing in the future. Relatedly, the mere invocation of a Fifth Amendment would be highly illuminating and would permit the court and jury to draw an adverse inference based upon that invocation. Yeah, because if it's criminal, maybe not. But anyway, we'll continue. Conclusion, Miss Spears submits respectfully with peace and love that her father get the fuck out of her conservatorship. And that's the conclusion. No, that's not what it says. It says Miss Spears submits respectfully that her father's efforts to confuse the issues and seek further delay must be rejected. They are, in fact, a subterfuge. They're bullshit. Designed to avoid the stigma of being suspended and its consequences. Spears could have just resigned, but he didn't want to. So, you mess with the bull, you get the horns is where we're left. We're left with you mess with the bull, you get the horns. That's where we're at. All the animal references. I'm sorry that it's Animal Farm up in here tonight. It just is. They are in fact a subterfuge designed to avoid the stigma of being suspended and its consequences, including the likelihood of disengorgement and rejection of outstanding legal fees. Yes, please disengorge that $1 million of legal fees and let Dad Spears pay for it himself. Sustained objections to the pending accounting, the transfer of files, and other remedies. Yeah, we need to transfer the fucking files. We needed to do that ages ago. It's why I wanted Bessemer Trust to come into this thing. Someone else needed to see the files. And hopefully, a year later, we might get there. It goes on to say, in short, we respectfully submit that based upon fundamental legal principles, including what is indisputably in the Conservatee's best interest, the path forward is clear. Mr. Spears' latest efforts to delay must be rejected. He must be yeeted on September 29th, followed by the prompt termination of the conservatorship, signed Rosengart. Exhibit A is the last motion, and that is it. We have concluded both of the motions that are pending. The fee petition stuff, I will summarize on social media later this week. I plan on reading it on the plane tomorrow, which I will be leaving my home for at 4:30 in the morning because it's Vid Summit week. But, and I'm honored to be speaking there. And I need to, we need our beauty sleep. We need to look cute. We need to look cute to go meet up with the other YouTubers. But I am going to take some time to take some questions, and then we are going to go. I am optimistic that the court will either be embarrassed or actually just realize that the right thing to do is to listen to Rosengart. I hope that the court's going to be pissed about some of the things that were brought to light in the New York Times investigative piece, which is why real investigative journalism is so important. And again, there's always the push-pull for me of these documents are under seal and they shouldn't be released. That's part of having things under seal with court, but also how else do you dig into something when you think that things aren't being done improperly? And clearly things within this conservatorship are being done completely improperly and illegally. So I I'm like of two minds. I appreciate the New York Times and what they brought to light. I'm horrified that even back in 2016, the investigators, the probate investigators were saying there's something wrong here and something else needs to be done. And that the court didn't hear it because subsequent to that, Ingham did bring a petition to get rid of Dad Spears to bring on Bessemer Trust. And at the appointment of Bessemer Trust immediately suspend Dad Spears, and the court wouldn't do it. But the court had this information. What the court can't avoid now is public scrutiny. This has been brought to light. It's going to continue to be brought to light. And there's no going back from here. Britney has spoken twice. The entire world heard it. And it caused such a ruckus that the court shut down the audio recording program. I think that courts should be open and accessible. I think that courts have to be open and accessible for people to have faith in our judicial system, because this case is among many that is rocking people's faith in the court system and in lawyers in general. My profession has not had a good year. I mean, there are a lot of lawyers doing a lot of things they shouldn't be doing, and it's horrifying. There are many wonderful ethical lawyers. There are unfortunately too many that aren't. And if your integrity and your ethics don't come first, that this is not the right profession for you. And that's something that is very much important. So the world is watching, Your Honor. And Rosa Gart has given you a very clear path forward. James Spears' attorneys have tried to change it around, but they're not the ones in control anymore, and they shouldn't be. Let's get to a few questions, because I'm sure you've got questions. I've got questions. I know I probably won't get to every single super chat. Thank you for them. I will do my best. Also, if you are new here, go ahead and do the likey, subscribey things. We're at like 157,000. I am unrealistically reaching for 200,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen. It would sure be exciting. I'm ready for it. That's the goal. That's the outrageous reach, but it's all right. The other reach is my children really, really, really want me to get a picture with Mr. Beast at VidSummit. That's like their entire thing. I'm like, I'm just excited to meet my like online people in person, but my kids are like, but Mr. Beast is going to be there. I'm like, yes, Mr. Beast is going to be there. So are there grounds for the kids or possible others Britney was talking to go after Mr. Spears for wiretapping? That's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, they would also have a cause of action if they can prove their call was being recorded, because nobody had a right to record it. So I don't think there would be a reason not to, but I don't know if it's needed now that Britney's team is also on it, and if they want to spend the money to go after that now that Britney's team is on it. I thought the court had to approve all of the estate charges. Susie Q, it does have to approve all of the charges, but it looks like for years past, those had just been getting rubber stamped, and there are definitely some questions about that. Ingham raised questions at the 12th accounting. I think Lynn Spears raised the objections first, but now that there's objections, they're going to have to continue doing this. So we will see. Tempest 2004 said, do you think Dad Spears will face jail time? Oh, it's really soon to tell. I'm sure there will be investigations. If there are charges filed, I'll evaluate it then, depending on what the charges are. There are definitely enough questions raised by the documentary from the New York Times to interest some prosecutors, not to mention, I would guess, just based on my own experience after leaving the DA's office, there are still DA investigators I keep in touch with and others I keep in touch with. I mean, I could see a world where somebody would be like, are you watching this? Are you seeing this? Or where other prosecutors are watching what their former colleague is doing. I would imagine that there's enough in that documentary to warrant some curious prosecutors to get an investigation going, because they're allowed to do that. They can investigate. There is enough allegations there, particularly with the illegal recording, to start an investigation and have a chitty chat with Vlad. Question, can the court after yeeting force a gag order on Papa Spears to avoid an effort in interviews to fight Britney? I don't know if the court would do that. I don't know if it would be warranted, but we would see. So we will see. Question, can Jamie be arrested for bugging Brit without her consent? There would have to be an investigation. The act that they cited in here is a civil act that gives civil cause of action. There are some criminal causes of action for that. More information is needed. Not yet. There would have to be an investigation, police reports, etc. I'm not saying that it can't happen down the road. I just don't see it happening immediately. Looking ahead, do you see a path to criminal liability? I think we just talked about that, but also once Rosengart gets more information, whether that will be forwarded for consideration, whether police reports will be made, I think financial misfeasance will be one of the easier things to do. But if they have that 180 hours of recording and they have a witness that came forward and said, I was a part of doing this, this is what the bosses did, I think you've got a lot to go on for a investigation. And it's so good to see you. I can't believe you're riding tonight with an early plane ride. Thank you and the mods. I know. My husband was like, this is what, and I'm like, yes, we're going to pack some stuff. It's all going to be fine. We'll figure it out. But yes, one of the reasons I have to wrap up is to say goodnight to the kiddos because I am going to be gone for a few nights and I'm leaving early. So I'm going to do a few more questions and then we'll go there. Can Rosengart depose Ingham and find out if James was tampering with the handoff process for Bessemer? Ashley, I'm sure, I mean, they're going to have conversations. They have room to have conversations because Ingham's the subsequent lawyer. Everything Ingham knows, Rosengart should know. So it doesn't need to be deposed. That should just be a conversation that happens. So there should be conversations. Hopefully Ingham will be cooperative in those conversations. I don't know if the court files have been turned over yet or not. Hopefully they will be, but we will see. I mean, this feels like we're going to get motions every day until this comes out. And again, if you follow me on social at the Emily D. Baker, it's where I will be breaking things down more quickly. It's where I broke down, the Josh Duggar motions today. The court denied all of Duggar's motions. Those are things I share on social because it's a little faster than going live, especially while I'm traveling. Jennifer, thank you so much for your super chat. So that's what's going on. So if you want to stay in the loop, Twitter and or Instagram, pick your poison. If you follow me on Facebook, I post there as well. I'm not as engaged there. Thank you, Miss Opinionated. So much more engaged on Instagram and Twitter. I don't like Facebook. Thank you, Ashley Vincent. I loved Lady Olena's adage from Game of Thrones. You can't squirt the cream back up the cow's udders. I loved Lady Olena. I feel like Britney is going to be having her tell Cersei it was me moment because she's really the one that spoke to the court and was like, we doing this. And it is. Tell daddy it was me. Get it, Britney. Get it. Because every time Vivian says, Britney knows her daddy loves her, I literally want to barf in my mouth. It sits so wrong with me. It's so condescending. Susan said for document and hair fund. Well, thank you. I mean, the hair is a choice. The documents are a necessity. So it's much appreciated. The hair it's definitely a choice. We love it. I mean, Garland does such a great job. He is just a king among men, and I enjoy spending time with him as he keeps the hair looking great. New law nerd term, shock fuckery, being shocked into speechlessness and an inability to think due to the sheer fuckery of something. I love it. And extra money for coffee. We'll definitely need it. I will be living at Starbucks over the next week. Greetings from Iowa. Thank you. I love shock fuckery. And we will add it to the Law Nerds Dictionary. I'm actually working on a Law Nerds Dictionary where we turn legal terms into law nerdness. Like motion to not delete your shit, motion to yeet. Any of you who are lawyers and law nerds, lawyers or law students, I am sorry if you have to retranslate in your head and you're like, the motion to not delete your shit. Oh, wait, we can't write that down. So yes, shock fuckery. Somebody screenshot it. One of the mods, screenshot it and send it to me so I can put it in the document. I don't forget. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Dax is a name. This is absolutely the T. Rosengart came to play and he came to win. Like the team con is definitely going to be nervous for sure. So, Amy V, do you personally think James will be charged after everyone finds out how much he abused Britney and her funds? I definitely think there's going to be an investigation. I think it's possible. I think it might take some time, but I think it's possible. I really do, especially with this. Thank you, Kathy Williams for the document fund. I appreciate it. I was half teasing about how personally offended I feel, but we're allowed to make jokes. Thank you, Shauna Addy. I didn't mean to say that so that you guys would all donate to the funds. I meant to say it so that Holland and Knight will stop being excessive. So everyone will stop making these things 130 pages long. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Dad Spears, bye-bye. Shout out to Hollow Taco. Got the new collection on right now. It is gorgeous. I love it. I am so appreciative of Simply for sending this to me, and it is gorgeous. I am wearing new Hollow Taco on my toesies because these are dip powder. They're very, very glittery. I've got to wake everybody up on stage because I'm speaking early. So glittery nails is one of the ways to do it. Towards the transcript fund. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate you too. Thank you, Law Nerds. Appreciate all of you. I am going to try to get up to the top and see if there are any that I missed that I can grab real quick. And then I'm going to go put my kiddos to bed and get ready to get on a plane. I love seeing all of the chat. Okay, I cannot get back up any further. And I see one more from Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. Have fun on your trip. Thank you for going live. Also, the purple hair is on fleek tonight. Thank you. It's ready to be put under a hat to fly tomorrow. It is so hard to fly with like mask, glasses, hair, earring. Like it's a whole situation, but we've got it. So I am very excited to speak at Vid Summit. I'm honored. It's an invite only. Most of the YouTubers that are speaking are way, way fancier than me. So I am very excited to share, and I'm going to be talking mostly about y'all. It's a conference for other YouTube creators, and I'm going to be talking about our community and what building this community is like. For those of you that are in other communities, it's different. Like being with Law Nerds is different. The experience in the chat is different. And when I premiere videos, I love getting to experience it too. We've built something really unique here, and I want to help other YouTubers learn what we've done to help create and foster a positive community on the internet so that when you come into the chat, you leave feeling like you've had an AOL chat room with your friends and that you've had a good kiki. Like we all feel a little bit refreshed. We're like, we've talked it out. Like I feel like I've gotten to talk to my people. Like we all are in the same place. We understand. And that's the point of having a positive community. It's why even when we all hate what we're seeing, we don't foster hate and we don't call names and we don't allow people to speculate on things like mental health in the chat. It's why we will boot people that come in to just start up shit. Because this community is more important than a few more subscribers. And that's the truth of it. This community is the most important thing, not views, not clicks, not salacious titles, not going live every 16 seconds because somebody has farted on Real Housewives because they were talking about Jen Shaw, but having a place to have, compassionate conversation with integrity. And that is what Law Nerds are about. And I love it. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jennifer, do you think James will get yeeted this week? I've got to be totally honest with you guys. I'm nervous. Like I'm anxious about the 29th. And I'm sure a lot of people are. I'm really anxious about what the court will do. I will be really disappointed if the court doesn't suspend, at least suspend, maybe not remove, but at least suspend James Spears to allow a subsequent conservator. I'm nervous that the court will try to punt. I don't think the court will deny the motion. I think that would be unwise. I won't be super surprised if the court tries to punt to another date. I will be disappointed. So I'm anxious. Yeah, and I really hope that this will get granted. I really, really do. Jade said Ingham sent email to get record from Dad Spears to say his convos weren't being recorded. He knew he was being recorded. I worry because the email did sound like a CYA email in the New York Times documentary. And I I worry. And you know what? The thing that's the most amazing to me is that um in all of this, the gaslighting of Britney to the point where she felt isolated, alone, and crazy is horrible. Because true gaslighting makes people feel like they are the ones that are losing their grip on reality. Because they're like, this is happening. And everybody's like, no, that's not happening. If even your own lawyer is like, oh no, sweetie, nobody's looking at your phones. No, they're not doing that. Can you the fact that she has and will come out the other side of this is just a testament to her strength and human spirit, because this is 13 years of abuse and it is just staggering to me. And it's so frustrating, and it makes me so sad for her that she had no one. You should at least have the reason that the Conservatee has a lawyer in addition to the conservators is so there is someone standing by their side. And the fact that it seems that wasn't done is just disgusting. It's just disgusting to me. And there are just no words. Question: will we get to hear your speech at Vid Summit? I know people have virtual passes to Vid Summit. They will be recording it. I am not going to be streaming it. I am not going to independently record it, but I will definitely share what I talk about with you guys. It is definitely a creator focused talk, but I will talk about what I talk about in other forms too. And I know that they will share parts of that too. So I'll share some stuff. All right. Good night, folks. Free Britney. Question: could Brit's OG lawyer Ingham face charges? It's 3 a.m. here in Scotland. You are very loyal. Thank you. You're always welcome to be part of the replay crew. But could Ingham face charges? It's hard because Ingham is going to have some immunity because he was court-appointed counsel in the realm of doing her job, but that doesn't protect from everything. So it will be very, very interesting. Nicole said Brit is so isolated. It reminds me, and this is my 9th wrap up, but it reminds me of the scene in Harry Potter in the movies, well, also in the book, but in the movies where Harry's talking about feeling isolated and Luna saying to him, yeah, I mean, if I was, he who shall not be named, I'd want you to feel alone too, because if you're just all by yourself, you're not as much of a threat. I wouldn't want you to feel like you had anybody to support you either. And that is what happens in like cycle of violence stuff. And that is what happens and seems to have happened in this case, is they isolated Britney to the point where she didn't have the resilience to stand up because there was no one there for her. And the fact that she feels strong enough to do that now is absolutely amazing. So mods, a huge thank you for the extra rides. Go ahead and follow me on the socials at the Emily D. Baker. Like and subscribe. Share this video with somebody who wants the facts, not the fuckery. And even though some of these motions had fuckery within them. And I will see you not on Tuesday for Coffee and Cursey Words, not on Friday for Friday Night Live, because I will be traveling. I will do a live when we have some definitive answers from Britney's court ruling, or court hearing on the 29th. So be sure to put the bell on here. Follow me on social. Join the text crew, textemily.com if you want notifications from me. If you're international, social media is the best way to do that. And yeah, I will see you all soon. I will see you on social tomorrow. So thank you. Just wanted to let you know I'm 7 months pregnant, and my whole pregnancy I've listened to you. My son will definitely recognize your voice. Well, hopefully it puts your kiddo to sleep the way it does for so many others, because I have found that I definitely can put people to sleep. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm going with good. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being a loner. May the odds be ever in your favor. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye, everybody. Bye, 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 bye. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just textemily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube.